My dear students, welcome back to our channel. Students, in this video I am explaining B.Ed first semester, subject Philosophical Foundations of Education, important short questions and answers. Let's start quick revision. First important short question is define education from Indian perspective. In the Indian context, education is seen as a process of holistic development, combining both intellectual and moral growth. It aims to preserve cultural heritage while preparing individuals for modern challenges. For example, the traditional Gurukul system emphasized not only academic learning but also values like respect and discipline. Today, formal education systems in schools and colleges focus on imparting knowledge, skills, and character building. In India, education is viewed as a way to empower individuals, uplift society, and bridge social gaps, helping achieve personal and national progress. Next important short question is define education and list out its functions. Education is the process of learning and gaining knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes. It shapes individuals for personal development and societal contribution. For example, in school, students not only learn subjects like math and science but also life skills such as teamwork and responsibility. The main functions of education include 1. Knowledge transmission, teaching subjects and facts, example, history, science. 2. Skill development, enhancing abilities like problem solving and communication. 3. Cultural preservation, passing down traditions and values. 4. Socialization, helping individuals learn to interact within society. 5. Personal growth, encouraging self-awareness and confidence. Next important short question is describe the scope of philosophy of education. The scope of the philosophy of education covers a broad range of ideas and principles that guide educational practices. It explores the purpose, methods, and goals of education. For example, it examines questions like, what should students learn, or how can teachers best support student growth? It also looks at values such as justice, equality, and freedom in education. Philosophical perspectives such as idealism, realism, and pragmatism influence curriculum design, teaching methods, and educational policies. Ultimately, it helps in creating an educational environment that promotes intellectual, moral, and emotional development for all learners. Next important short question is what is the relation between philosophy and education? Philosophy and education are deeply interconnected, as philosophy provides the foundational principles that shape educational practices. Philosophy helps answer key questions about the purpose of education, such as what students should learn and why. For example, a philosophy like pragmatism emphasizes learning through experience, which influences hands-on teaching methods. Education, in turn, applies these philosophical ideas in real-world classrooms. So, philosophy guides the values, goals, and methods of education, while education tests and develops those ideas through practical application. Together, they ensure that learning environments align with broader societal and personal development goals. Next important short question is what do you mean by indigenous pedagogy? Indigenous pedagogy refers to traditional methods of teaching and learning that are rooted in the cultural practices, values, and knowledge systems of indigenous communities. It emphasizes experiential learning, storytelling, and the connection between nature, community, and spirituality. For example, in many indigenous cultures, elders teach younger generations through oral traditions, stories, and hands-on experiences, passing down wisdom in an interactive and relational way. This approach encourages holistic development, where learners engage with the world around them in a meaningful, context-based manner, preserving cultural heritage and fostering respect for the environment and community. Next important short question is write a note on positive discipline. Positive discipline is an approach that focuses on teaching children how to behave respectfully and responsibly, rather than punishing them for mistakes. It encourages understanding, clear communication, and consistent guidance. For example, instead of scolding a child for not completing homework, a teacher might discuss the importance of time management and help the child develop better habits. Positive discipline emphasizes empathy, problem solving, and reinforcing good behavior with praise. It helps build a trusting relationship between adults and children, promoting a positive learning environment where children learn from their actions and grow into responsible individuals. Next important short question is explain the importance of positive discipline. Positive discipline is important because it focuses on teaching children how to make better choices rather than just punishing bad behavior. It helps build a child's self-esteem, encourages responsibility, and fosters a positive relationship between adults and children. For example, if a child makes a mistake, instead of punishment, positive discipline involves discussing the mistake and finding ways to avoid it in the future. This approach leads to long-term growth, as children learn problem-solving, respect, and self-regulation. Ultimately, positive discipline creates a safe and supportive environment for children to develop into confident and responsible individuals. Next important short question is outline the main features of Vedic education system. The Vedic education system, practiced in ancient India, was based on oral transmission of knowledge and focused on holistic learning. Its main features include 1. Guru-Shishya relationship, personal, close interaction between teacher and student. 2. Oral tradition, learning through memorization and recitation of Vedic texts. 3. Spiritual and moral growth, emphasis on ethics, values, and character development. 4. Focus on nature and environment, learning about natural world and its connection to human life. 5. Subject areas, knowledge of philosophy, science, music, and mathematics. This system nurtured intellectual, moral, and spiritual growth, aiming for overall development. Next important short question is write about Child Rights Convention and positive discipline. The Child Rights Convention, adopted by the UN in 1989, is a global agreement that protects children's rights to survival, development, protection, and participation. It ensures children are treated with dignity, have access to education, and live in a safe environment. Positive discipline aligns with this convention by promoting non-violent, supportive methods of guiding children's behavior. Instead of punishment, positive discipline uses communication and understanding to teach children appropriate behavior. For example, if a child misbehaves, positive discipline involves calmly explaining the mistake and helping them learn better choices, ensuring respect for their rights and well-being. Next important short question is list out categories of child rights. Child rights are divided into 4 main categories. 1. Survival rights. These include basic needs like access to food, clean water, and health care. For example, every child has the right to be vaccinated against preventable diseases. 2. Development rights. These ensure children's access to education, play, and cultural activities. For instance, the right to attend school and learn. 3. Protection rights. These protect children from abuse, exploitation, and neglect. For example, children have the right to be safe from child labor. 4. Participation rights. These allow children to express their opinions. For example, children can voice their thoughts on decisions affecting them. Next important short question is write briefly on Jana education system. The Jana education system, rooted in the teachings of Jainism, emphasizes non-violence, truth, and self-discipline. It focuses on moral and spiritual development alongside academic learning. Education was traditionally imparted through oral transmission by gurus, teachers, and aimed at developing both intellectual and ethical virtues. For example, children were taught the principles of ahimsa, non-violence, aparigraha, non-possessiveness, and satya, truth. The system encouraged self-reflection, meditation, and the study of Jain scriptures. This holistic approach aimed to cultivate wisdom, inner peace, and ethical conduct, guiding individuals toward a life of harmony and non-attachment. Next important short question is what is meant by Sthitapragnatha? Sthitaprajna refers to a person who remains calm, composed, and unaffected by external circumstances, as described in the Bhagavad Gita. The term means someone with a stable, unshakable mind, who maintains equanimity in both pleasure and pain. For example, a person who faces failure or success without getting overly excited or disheartened is considered a sthitaprajna. Such a person is not easily disturbed by emotions or material distractions, showing wisdom and balance in all situations. Essentially, sthitaprajna reflects spiritual maturity and self-control, leading to inner peace and clarity. Next important short question is distinguish Paravidya and Aparavidya. Paravidya and Aparavidya are terms from ancient Indian philosophy, especially in the Vedas. Paravidya refers to higher knowledge, focused on spiritual learning and self-realization. It is concerned with understanding the ultimate truth and the nature of the soul. For example, studying the Vedanta philosophy or meditative practices for enlightenment is Paravidya. Aparavidya refers to lower knowledge, focused on worldly subjects like science, mathematics, and arts. It helps in understanding the material world. For instance, learning to read and write or studying physics is Aparavidya. In essence, Paravidya leads to spiritual growth, while Aparavidya helps in practical living. Next important short question is write about the teachings from Vedanta. Vedanta, one of the 6 orthodox schools of Hindu philosophy, focuses on the ultimate nature of reality, the self, and the universe. Its core teachings include 1. Brahman, the ultimate reality, a formless, infinite, and eternal power. Everything in the universe is a manifestation of Brahman. 2. Atman, the true self or soul, which is identical with Brahman. 3. Maya, the illusion that causes humans to perceive the world as separate from the divine. 4. Moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death, achieved through self-realization. For example, Vedanta teaches that realizing one's true self, Atman, leads to spiritual freedom, moksha. Next important short question is give the features of Karuvaka philosophy. Karvaka philosophy, also known as Lokayata, is an ancient materialistic and atheistic school of thought. Its main features include 1. Materialism, belief that only the physical world exists and everything, including the mind, is made of material elements. 2. Sensory perception, knowledge is derived from direct sensory experience, no belief in supernatural forces. 3. Rejects afterlife, denies concepts like reincarnation or life after death. 4. Pleasure as the goal, advocates for seeking pleasure and happiness in life, as this is the only certainty. For example, Karvaka would argue that since we cannot perceive an afterlife, we should focus on enjoying the present. Next important short question is describe education from idealistic perspective. From an idealistic perspective, education focuses on cultivating the mind and developing moral and intellectual virtues. Idealism believes that reality is shaped by ideas, and education helps individuals connect with universal truths. The goal is to nurture the inherent potential of students and prepare them for a life of moral and intellectual excellence. For example, in an idealistic classroom, students are encouraged to explore subjects like philosophy and literature, aiming to understand higher truths and ideals. Education, therefore, is seen as a means to help students develop their character, wisdom, and capacity for ethical decision-making. Next important short question is, what is the naturalistic perspective of education? The naturalistic perspective of education emphasizes learning through direct experience and interaction with the natural world. It values the natural development of children and believes education should align with their instincts and interests. This perspective encourages exploration, hands-on learning, and freedom to grow at one's own pace. For example, a naturalistic classroom might involve outdoor activities where children learn about plants, animals, and the environment by observing and interacting with them directly. It believes in the importance of nurturing a child's innate curiosity, allowing them to learn through experience rather than rigid teaching methods or imposed rules. Next important short question is, what are the principal aspects of Tagore's education? Rabindranath Tagore's education philosophy emphasizes holistic development, blending intellectual, emotional, and spiritual growth. Key aspects include 1. Freedom and creativity. Tagore advocated for an education that encourages creativity, where students have the freedom to explore and express themselves. 2. Connection with nature. He believed learning should happen in natural surroundings, fostering a deeper understanding of life. 3. Emphasis on harmony. Tagore's approach focused on developing moral values, empathy, and social responsibility. 4. Individualized learning. Recognizing the uniqueness of each child, Tagore promoted personalized learning to nurture each student's potential. For example, his school, Shantiniketan, embraced these principles through open-air classrooms and artistic expression. Next important short question is, write a note on Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts on education. Mahatma Gandhi's thoughts on education emphasized Nai Talim or basic education, which focused on the overall development of individuals through hands-on learning. He believed education should promote self-reliance, moral values, and character building. Gandhi advocated for learning through productive work, where students would engage in activities like spinning, weaving, and farming, alongside academic subjects. He also stressed the importance of moral and spiritual education to build a strong character. For example, in his schools, children learned to value simplicity, non-violence, and respect for all. Gandhi's education aimed to develop a holistic, responsible, and self-sufficient individual. Next important short question is, what are Plato's educational thoughts? Plato's educational thoughts, expressed in works like The Republic, emphasize the importance of reason, virtue, and justice. He believed education should focus on developing both the mind and character, with a strong foundation in philosophy, mathematics, and the arts. Plato advocated for a well-structured, hierarchical education system where children are taught according to their abilities and societal roles. For example, he suggested that philosopher kings, trained in wisdom and ethics, should rule society. His idea of education was not only academic but aimed at cultivating moral virtues, helping individuals achieve harmony in both personal and societal life. Next important short question is, what is the concept of Nishkama Karma? Nishkama Karma is a concept from the Bhagavad Gita meaning performing actions without attachment to the results. It encourages acting selflessly, focusing on the task itself, rather than seeking rewards or outcomes. For example, if someone teaches a child, they should do so out of a genuine desire to help, not for praise or personal gain. The idea is that by acting with pure intention, one frees themselves from desires and ego, leading to spiritual growth and peace. Ultimately, Nishkama Karma emphasizes the importance of duty, selflessness, and detachment in all actions. Next important short question is describe the philosophy of Upanishads. The philosophy of the Upanishads focuses on understanding the nature of reality, the self, and the ultimate truth. It teaches that the individual soul, Atman, is fundamentally the same as the universal soul, Brahman. The goal is to realize this unity through self-awareness, meditation, and knowledge. For example, in the Upanishads, it is explained that the ultimate reality is beyond physical senses and can be understood only through deep contemplation. They emphasize the importance of inner wisdom and spiritual awakening. The philosophy encourages seeking liberation, moksha, from the cycle of birth and death through self-realization. Next important short question is write a short note on utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that suggests the best action is the one that maximizes overall happiness or well-being for the greatest number of people. Developed by thinkers like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, it focuses on outcomes rather than intentions. For example, if a government decides to build a park, it would consider how many people would benefit from it, ensuring the greatest good for the most people. In this way, utilitarianism encourages decisions that promote collective happiness and minimize harm, even if it means sacrificing individual interests for the greater good. Students, for other units explanation and other subjects quick revision or explanation links are available in description. Check out once. I think it will be useful to you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Like and share this video with your friends.